3 sinister true tales of the haunted night, terrifying secrets revealed from the darkness, the night whispered tales unspeakable. Jenna, a single mother in Maplewood, Ohio, could never anticipate the horrors lurking within her suburban haven. Life seemed mundane, wrapped in the soft hum of backyard barbecues and friendly neighbors. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, a suffocating darkness settled in, tickling the edges of fear in her heart. One evening, after tucking her 5-year-old daughter Lily into bed, Jenna sank into the comforting embrace of her favorite armchair, book in hand. But the stillness was shattered by a chilling crackle from the baby monitor. Jenna felt a cold sweat form as she leaned closer, the night air thick with dread. There, through the static, came Lily's innocent giggle, a sound that always filled the room with light. But tonight, it carried with it an otherworldly weight. "Mr. Black, you found me," her daughter squealed from the shadows. Jenna's heart raced, breathing shallow and difficult. Who was this Mr. Black? She shook her head, chalking it up to childhood whimsy, yet the prickling sensation of unease clung to her skin like a second shadow. Days turned into weeks, and the comfort of routine crumbled like dried leaves upon first frost. Items began to misplace themselves: her keys in the refrigerator, the remote under the couch cushions. Flickering lights cast eerie shadows that seemed to taunt her. The whispers amplified, creeping into corners of her mind she never knew existed. One fateful night, her break at the hospital turned into a whirlwind of panic when Mrs. Thompson, her elderly neighbor, called, breathless and frantic. "Jenna! You need to come home. There's something out here." The voice trembled, weaving a tale of terrors lurking in the backyards after dark. Jenna's composure shattered. She rushed home, feet flying over the pavement, only to be dismissed by the local police, their laughter echoing in her ears, branding her panic as mere paranoia. Driven to desperate measures, Jenna took to the depths of her cluttered basement. Dust danced in the fading sunlight as she rummaged through forgotten toys and old boxes. Her heart seized when she stumbled across a crayon drawing Lily's proud work. A crude map of their neighborhood marked with ominous symbols and a path leading straight to their home. The chill gripped her tighter. The shapes were uncanny, evoking an ancient terror she couldn't name. Daylight faded as she traced the lines, whispers growing louder, more insistent. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The realization thudded within her: the danger wasn't just an imaginary friend. The true monsters prowled the streets, hiding behind the masks of friendly faces. Every neighbor, every kindly soul could be hiding secrets darker than the night itself. As shadows cloaked her home, Jenna braced herself for a battle against forces unseen, desperate to protect Lily from a dread that slithered closer with every heartbeat. The map whispered of things left unspoken, and the whispers called to her like sirens, drawing her ever further into the encroaching darkness. Who could she trust? And what horrors awaited them in the depths of Maplewood, where whispers turned to screams? Jenna couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her, lurking just outside the reach of her dwindling courage. After studying the crayon drawing, she felt as if the walls of her home were closing in, pulsating with hidden secrets and dangers. The once comforting hum of the night shifted to a tense silence, as if the very air held its breath, waiting. "What do you want?" Jenna whispered into the darkness, trembling with a mix of defiance and fear. A distant giggle echoed back through the baby monitor, sending a jolt of icy terror down her spine. "Mr. Black." Lily's voice rang clear in the stillness, playful yet laced with something sinister. Rushing to her daughter's room, Jenna pushed the door open, and a breath caught in her throat. The nightlight flickered, casting jittery beams across painted fairies and unicorns. But Lily was not asleep, Her wide eyes glimmered with an unsettling excitement, as if she were entwined in a game with an unseen player. "Mommy, can we play with Mr. Black?" she asked, innocence betraying a hint of darkness. "Lily, who is Mr. Black?" Jenna's voice trembled. The little girl giggled again, clapping her hands in delight. "He comes from the shadows. He is my friend." Panic surged through Jenna's veins. "No. You shouldn't talk to him, sweetie. He is not your friend." She rushed forward, pulling Lily from the bed and enveloping her in a protective embrace. The shadows in the corners of the room seemed to shift, crawling closer. An oppressive weight filled the air, though Jenna could see nothing out of the ordinary. The sound of the baby monitor suddenly cut out, plunging them into eerie silence. The only noise was the quiet thump of her heart, matching the rhythm of her escalating dread. Just as she turned to leave, something flickered in the corner of her eye, a fleeting silhouette, dark and elongated. Jenna whipped around, but the room remained empty. She exhaled shakily, no longer capable of convincing herself this was all a figment of exhaustion. The feeling of eyes on her would not dissipate, dread wriggled deeper, settling in her bones. "Stay close to me, Lily," she murmured, her voice cracking under pressure. "We need to find out more about this Mr. Black." Clutching her daughter's hand, Jenna took a deep breath and headed for the door, the map still dancing in her mind. It was time to confront the truth. As they ventured down the hall, the walls seemed to close in, the shadows grew thicker. With each cautious step, she could hear whispers in the air, echoing off the walls, tickling her ears like the sound of 1,000 secrets. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently, plunging them into darkness. There was no warning, just blackness enveloping them whole. A scream clawed at the edge of Jenna's throat as she held Lily tighter, squeezing her eyes shut. And then, from the depths of the darkened room, came a voice, low and guttural, whispering in an ancient tongue. It wrapped around them, clinging like a cold mist. "Let me play." Jenna's heart raced like a trapped bird, and in that moment, she realized the game had only just begun. What sacrifices would she have to make to protect her daughter? What horrors dwelled within Maplewood, ready to consume them whole? And who was this Mr. Black really? As terror thrummed like a heartbeat through the shadows, Jenna steeled herself for what lay ahead, vowing to uncover the truth lurking beneath the surface of their seemingly peaceful life. What dark secrets had these neighbors buried? The whispers called them deeper, but would they dare to follow? A shiver ran through Jenna as she stood frozen in the darkness, the whispered urgency still echoing in her mind. The words "let me play" wrapped around her like a noose, tightening with each heartbeat. She pointed the flashlight ahead, trembling. The beam cut through the oppressive dark, illuminating familiar family photos on the wall, images of smiles and laughter now shadowed by an unseen dread. Whispers grew louder, swirling in the corners, mocking her attempts to break the grip of fear. "Mommy, I want to go back to bed." Lily's voice quivered, a thin wisp of sound, trembling like the flickering light. The child's innocent fear tugged heavily at Jenna's heart. "Mr. Black doesn't like it when I'm scared." "Lily, listen to me," Jenna replied, her voice steely despite the fear creeping into it. "We can't let him have control. We have to find out what he wants and why he is here." The cold mist engulfed them, thickening, reaching up to cradle their legs. Jenna felt it wrap around her ankles, pulling her back, as if a phantom hand was trying to drag her into the dark. She stumbled, almost losing her grip on Lily. Desperation clawed at her throat. "Stay close. Can we play with Mr. Black?" The question slipped from Lily's lips like a song, innocent and yet haunted. Inexplicably, it chilled Jenna to the bone. "Absolutely not." Jenna snapped, harshly. "No playing with anybody that isn't here to help us. You must promise me, Lily." Lily stared up at her, unblinking, her eyes wide pools reflecting an otherworldly light. "But he is my friend." Her daughter's voice faded under a heartbeat of silence before the lights flickered back to life, sickly fluorescent halos spilling weakly in their little bubble of safety. But now, shadows danced more violently. The corners of the room darkened, pooling into menacing shapes that seemed to lean closer, hungry for warmth. Jenna's breath quickened, her vision narrowing. "Lily, we need to move now." With her hand anchored to Lily's, they hurried down the hall, the unforgiving footsteps echoing behind them like distant laughter. Jenna's heart raced not just from the fear but from the lurking thought that maybe Lily could, in fact, play with this stranger from the shadows. Before they reached the hallway's end, a door slammed shut somewhere deep in the house. The sound was heavy, a finality that teetered on the edge of her sanity. Jenna froze, her heart bursting with adrenaline. "Did you hear that?" Lily nodded slightly, a smile creeping onto her face, one that smelled of melting innocence. "Mr. Black wants us to play hide-and-seek." "No, he doesn't." Jenna gasped, desperation flooding her words. She pulled Lily closer, scanning each unreachable corner of their home, every shadow now an enemy. "We need to escape. You have to trust me." But Lily's gaze drifted past her, eyes glued towards the shadows behind Jenna. "Look, Mommy. He's right there." Slick fear trickled down Jenna's spine. She turned slowly, every muscle in her body tensed. A figure stood at the end of the hallway, draped in shadow, a dark silhouette with no distinct features, yet somehow it radiated an aura of familiarity that twisted her stomach. "Let us play." The voice floated from the darkness, smooth like silk yet sharp and jagged in her mind. Panic exploded in her chest as Jenna clutched Lily to her fiercely, baby monitor crackling erratically with incoherent whispers. What if there really was no escape? What if Mr. Black could claim them both? "Run, Lily!" Jenna shouted, bolting down the hallway, preparing to twist back into the safety of the living room when the lights flickered once more, plunging them into a terrifying darkness. Silence settled, thick enough to suffocate. And just like that, the game they never wanted to play began anew. But would they be the hunted, or was something darker still waiting for the perfect moment to strike? The chill of the dark swallowed them whole, each breath feeling heavier as if the air thickened with dread. Jenna's heart raced as she stumbled forward, dragging Lily behind her. They had to find an exit, but the familiar layout of their home morphed into a maze of looming shadows and crawling fear. Every creak of the floor seemed amplified, echoing like a distant mocking laugh. "Mommy, he's coming." Lily whimpered, her small hand clutching Jenna's tightly. The innocence in her voice twisted deep inside Jenna. What would Mr. Black do if he caught them? "Run faster." Jenna pushed the words out in a harsh whisper, urging both of them forward. But the beam of her flashlight flickered weakly, casting long, trembling shadows that swayed around them. Suddenly, Lily's voice broke the suffocating silence. "Wait, Mommy, I think he's nice." "No!" Jenna cried, panic surging like a tidal wave. "He is not nice." "You should never." A cold draft swept past them, extinguishing the flashlight with an abrupt snap. Darkness engulfed them, a living curtain that cut off all hope of sight. Jenna gasped, desperately trying to catch her breath. Then, above the rhythm of their muted heartbeats, an unsettling sound emerged, a soft, rhythmic tapping, like fingernails drumming against wood. It echoed from all directions, casting an icy hand over Jenna's spine. "What is that?" she whispered, dread pooling in her gut. "Mr. Black is just playing." Lily chirped, her voice unnaturally cheerful against the all-consuming dark. "He likes games." "Lily, please." Jenna's voice trembled. "You have to listen to me." Compelled by an instinct she couldn't quite understand, Jenna turned slowly, her ears straining against the sound. Then, out of the shrouded blackness, a sliver of movement caught her frail hope. Was it merely a trick of her mind? The tapping crescendoed, racing toward them, relentless and predatory. Without warning, light burst through the darkness, illuminating the hallway ahead. Jenna squinted, momentarily blinded by the brightness. As her eyes adjusted, her breath caught in her throat. A door stood ajar at the end of the hall, the source of the light, flickering like a beacon. "Jenna, let us go," she urged, pulling Lily toward it, the thought of escape flooding her with dangerous optimism. But then horror struck as the door swung shut with devastating finality, leaving just enough space to glimpse a shadow thrumming on the other side. "What's happening?" she gasped, heart racing. Lily tugged on her arm. "Mr. Black wants you to open it. He wants to play." "Never," Jenna hissed, fire igniting within her. "We don't play with monsters." Just then the whispers returned, a chorus of enticing promises slithering through the cracks. "Let us play" floated on the chilling air, each syllable a promise that twisted Jenna's stomach with fear. "No. We want tea," she shouted, the determination spilling into defiance. But her resolve faltered as the shadows coalesced, swirling into a swirling mass that grew more corporeal and ominous. They lunged forward like a dark tide, and without a moment's pause, Jenna bolted away from it, dragging Lily in tow. The walls felt alive, the shadows seeping into her mind as if Mr. Black himself was clawing between her thoughts, whispering dark secrets. With every step, it felt like they closed in closer, their heavy breaths resonating through the twisted paths of her mind. It wasn't just the house, it was all-consuming. "Where do we go, Mommy?" Lily's voice trembled beside her, the child's fear echoing Jenna's own. "I don't know, baby, but we can't stop. We can't let him win." Just then, they rounded a corner, almost colliding with a large, dark figure that loomed in the doorway. Frozen, Jenna's heart pounded in her chest like a drum, every cell in her body screaming for them to run. "Hello, Jenna. Let us play." The temptation was palpable, the cold air crackling with unspoken promises. What lay ahead? Was there truly no escape from the game Mr. Black wanted to play? Drawing a breath, Jenna gripped Lily tightly. "We're not playing. We're leaving." But as the whispers crescendoed into a fevered pitch, Jenna wondered, would their defiance spell liberation, or was it merely tantalizing them to the brink of something far more sinister? Racing down the hall, Jenna felt the oppressive weight of darkness pressing in on them. The air felt electric, thick with dread. Every footfall echoed too loudly, every absence of sound screamed in her ears. Shadows along the walls morphed and twisted, becoming grotesque figures that taunted her with their empty eyes. She clung to Lily, her small body trembling, desperately wishing the shadows could vanish like smoke. "Keep moving," Jenna urged, her voice sharp with urgency as they ducked into a side room, the door slightly ajar. It creaked as she pushed it open, revealing a small, cluttered space that smelled damp and forgotten. Dust motes danced in the shafts of light breaking through the dirty window, providing a fleeting glimpse of safety. Jenna froze, every instinct screaming for silence. "Stay close," she whispered, crouching low as she pulled Lily beside her. She was about to breathe a sigh of relief when a sudden crash echoed from the hallway outside. Something or someone was coming closer. "Mr. Black!" Lily squeaked, the innocent excitement making Jenna's stomach drop. "Hush!" Jenna hissed, pressing a finger to her lips, but it was too late. They could hear the unmistakable sound of something heavy dragging across the floor, each scrape a reminder of the impending doom. The closet was dark, nearly lost in the dimness of the room. Jenna glanced at the door. It stood firmly shut, but the handle rattled violently as if someone was trying to push it open. She felt the tight knot of fear in her chest constrict. "We have to be quiet," she whispered urgently, praying the shadows would just keep moving past them. But then came the giggle, soft and childlike, breaking through the looming silence. "Jenna! We should play. We can have so much fun." The voice drifted into the room, electrifying the air, raising the hair on her arms. Who is that?" Jenna breathed, the words barely escaping her trembling lips. She wanted to scream but feared whatever was lurking outside more than she feared the sound exiting her mouth. Lily's eyes brightened. "It's him. He's here. Can't you hear, Mommy? No. Jenna rasped, panic surging like molten lava. We can't trust him, Lily. He lies. A sharp knock reverberated off the door as if to punctuate her statement. Let us play hide and seek. I'm so good at it. You'll never find me. The voice sang, and Jenna shivered at the sheer hunger in the childlike tone tinged with something far darker. Desperation clawed through Jenna's mind. The shadows had already seeped into their sanctuary, creeping closer as she noticed the darkness swallowing the edges of the room. There was nowhere left to escape. Through the gloom, a terrible thought struck her. What if Mr. Black was toying with them, leading them deeper into his game by offering false hope? Her heart raced as she weighed their options. Lily, we need to move, Jenna whispered, every syllable laced with fear. We can't stay here, he can find us. Before she could finish her sentence, the door slammed open with a loud bang, and a draft blew across the room. The shadows swept in like a predator lunging for its prey, filling every inch with malevolence. Found you. The voice sang sweetly, dissonance echoing off the walls as figures darkened the doorway, their silhouettes hunched and unnatural. Run! Jenna screamed, pulling Lily up, adrenaline surging through her limbs. They dashed toward another exit at the far end of the room, but the shadows swirled closer, like tendrils reaching for them, blocking their path. With each desperate step, Jenna felt the looming dread grow thicker, choking off her resolve. They were trapped, cornered like animals in a cage. What would happen next? Would Mr. Black finally take them into his sinister world, or was there still a window of hope to find freedom? As they barreled through the remnants of forgotten memories, she realized she had to confront whatever awaited them. But what if the truth was far more horrifying than she ever imagined? The darkness whispered promises, beckoning Jenna to give in, to let it consume her completely. Would it be easier than fighting back? What's beyond this? She thought as they hurtled toward the next shadow. Would they breach a new nightmare, or find a way to endure? Let us play echoed in the night, and Jenna's resolve hardened. She would not succumb. She would not let Lily down. But as they rushed forward, fear gnawed at her mind. What happens when the game truly begins? The shadows lunged, and Jenna's heart raced as she pulled Lily close, their breaths escaping in frantic gasps. The room had transformed into a nightmare, every corner alive with sinister whispers. We have to find a way out, she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. They bolted past the narrow gap where the door had been flung open, the silhouettes writhing in the doorway, desperate to ensnare their prey. The echo of distant laughter filled the air, ricocheting off the walls like a cruel taunt. Jenna's stomach twisted. It felt like the shadows were feeding off their terror, growing bolder with every step they took. Mommy, I want to play. Lily's voice pierced through Jenna's panic, innocent yet haunting. It clenched around Jenna's heart, squeezing every ounce of resolve. Stay quiet. She snapped, fear mingling with urgency. They skidded into an adjoining room, where broken furniture jutted out like bones in a graveyard. In the dim light, a dusty window beckoned like a cruel promise, but it was too high to reach. Lily, stay low, Jenna ordered, scanning the space for anything they could use. The shadows trembled as if anticipating their next move, creeping closer. Mommy, what if he gets us? Lily whimpered, pulling at Jenna's hand. The young girl's trust hung heavy on Jenna's shoulders. I won't let that happen. I promise, Jenna responded, though the very words tasted like poison. Panic surged as she spotted an old, rickety chair nearby. Help me with this, she instructed, urgency clawing at her throat. Together, they shoved the chair beneath the window, its legs creaking in protest. But the noise was nothing compared to the ominous thumping from the previous room. Jenna's heart thrummed in her ears as she pressed Lily's small hand against her mouth. As they mounted the chair to reach the window, Jenna's mind raced. Shadows loomed large outside, long fingers creeping along the floorboards toward where they stood. One step, just a few more inches, and they would be free. But the thought of being trapped in that room, consumed by the darkness, bubbled dread in her stomach. With Lily perched on her shoulders, Jenna reached for the latch, her fingers trembling as she wrestled with rusty metal. "Simon. Open!" she hissed, desperate. Just when she thought hope was slipping away, the latch gave in with a sharp click. But the cracking sound echoed like a death knell. The shadows recoiled, startled, their haunting giggles morphing into sharp, disdainful howls. "No! You can't leave!" the childlike voice screeched, twisting through the air like a knife. The window swung open with a hair-raising creak, creating a path to the outside world. "Jump!" Jenna urged, hoisting Lily above her. Lily hesitated to leap into the unknown, dread danced in her eyes. "The shadows will catch you. Jump, Lily. Now!" As Lily leaped, Jenna felt a powerful tug at her leg. Something cold wrapped around her ankle, pulling her down. She could feel the icy breath of the darkness on her skin, stripping her away from light and hope. Lily landed silently, her small form vanishing into the night outside. Jenna's heart sank. "Lily!" she screamed, wrestling against the pull of the shadows, but the grip tightened like a vice. "Come play with us," forever the whispers cooed, wrapping around her mind, suffocating her will to fight. Desperation surged through her veins. She wouldn't give up on her daughter. With a final, frantic push, she kicked free from the grip and tumbled forward, her body hurtling through the window. They had escaped the room, but what awaited them in the lush, oppressive darkness outside? Jenna landed hard on the ground, gasping for breath. The cloying scent of earth and damp leaves surrounded her, but she didn't focus on it. Her eyes darted, searching for Lily, a silhouette in the dark, a lost wisp of hope. "Lily!" Panic sliced through her as she stumbled forward. The night felt alive, the shadows swirling with dark anticipation. "Where are you?" But the only answer was silence, and then, a chilling laugh floated through the air, echoing around her, intertwining with the rustling of leaves. The shadows trembled, and for a moment, she thought they danced in delight. What had followed them? What was lurking just behind the veil of darkness, waiting to finish the game? The forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting for her next move. But Jenna knew the game wasn't over. It had only just begun. Jenna's heart pounded in her chest as she stumbled deeper into the suffocating darkness. The forest surrounded her like a living entity, every rustle, every whisper quaking her resolve. Fragmented glimpses of white mist curled around ancient trees, their gnarled branches clawing at the starlit sky. "Lily!" she cried again, the name vibrating off the trunks, swallowed by the gloom. The silence that followed felt like an eerie promise. With each step, her breath quickened, the foliage crackling underfoot, awakening the night. She fought against the instinct to turn back, to find safety in the small darkness of that abandoned house, but her daughter forged an unbreakable tether to the unknown. A low, guttural sound rippled through the air, making her freeze. The laugh from moments before reverberated once more, twisting into a sound that clawed at her mind. "Mommy, come play." The child's voice faded into the depths of the forest, coated with a sinister edge that twisted her stomach into knots. "Stay close, Lily. I'm coming." She surveyed the thick underbrush, irrational fears bubbling up like venom. What if the shadows had taken her? What if she was too late? Clenching her fists, Jenna pushed ahead, weaving between trees, letting instinct guide her. The scent of decay nipped at her nostrils, gnawing at memories long buried, a child's laughter now a haunting echo. "Go away!" she screamed into the dark, desperation flaring. "What do you want? Just leave us alone." Her words hung suspended before dissolving into the silence. And then, a flicker of movement caught her eye there. Against a backdrop of endless black stood a figure, small and ghostly, barely illuminated in the dim light. Lily? Jenna stepped closer, heart racing as the figure turned, revealing hollow eyes that bore into hers. Fear knotted in her throat. It wasn't Lily. It was a shade of a little girl, hair tangled like drifting smoke, eyes gleaming with dark knowledge and mischief. "She's playing," the apparition whispered, an echo of innocence warped beyond recognition. "You should play too." Jenna staggered back, dread clawing at her chest. Behind the shade, shadows morphed and shifted, pulsating with a hunger that sent a bone-deep chill coursing through her. "Where is my daughter? What have you done to her?" she demanded, her voice breaking, desperation weaving through her. "Playing forever," the shade giggled, the sound ringing hollow, dripping with malice. Jenna's pulse quickened, she had to fight. "Leave us!" she shouted, attempting to push past the darkness looming around her. With every ounce of will, she stumbled forward, heart pounding against the fear that wrapped around her like a shroud. The only sound was the thumping of her blood in her ears, drowning out the whispers of the shadows, desperate to claim her. Then, a flicker more movement. It was her daughter. A fleeting glimpse of a small figure darted between the trees, hair glinting briefly under the moonlight, the glimmer of hope ignited anew. "Lily!" Jenna dashed toward it, fueled by that fragile thread of hope. But with every step closer, the forest shifted, changing around her, shadows extending like monstrous fingers seeking to snare her. "Mommy!" Lily's voice was now a chorus of multiple tones, beautiful and terrifying. "Lily, where are you?" Jenna cried, a desperation that twisted her insides. The shadows crept nearer, slithering around her legs, cold and biting. Suddenly, there was a flash, and light erupted from deeper in the woods. Jenna hesitated. A crackling fire, maybe? What did it mean? Should she run toward the light, where safety might beckon? Or should she stay and confront the malevolent spirits that whispered promises of playing? Jenna took a step toward the flickering light, but a rush of cold air blasted against her as the shadows surged forward, clouding her senses. Pushing back against the shadows became a frantic thought. The laughter resounded around her, the tortured promise echoing louder and louder. Whatever it was lurking just beyond the light wasn't done with her yet. Faced with the laughing void behind her and the flickering light ahead, Jenna wrestled with her next move. What choice would free them from this dawnless night? How far would she go to save her daughter? Lily. The darkness circled her, and with a sudden realization, she knew she had to confront it. She stepped forward into the unknown, courage burning fiercely in her chest. But what awaited on the other side of that light? Would it reveal safety or a darker truth? The light flickered, blurring and shifting like a mirage, almost playful in its chaotic dance. Jenna felt a surge of determination, each beat of her heart synchronizing with the pulse of the trembling illumination ahead. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to push through the gathering shadows that writhed and twisted around her, pulling at her limbs with an icy grip. "Mommy, you can't play until you find me." The voice, sweet and taunting, echoed around her, seeping into her skin. It was a cruel game, a twisted invitation that reverberated through the forest, making the trees tremble as if they shared in the malicious delight. "Lily!" she shouted again, her voice cracking, breaking under the weight of despair. With each uncertain step, the grimy ground sucked at her shoes, as if it wanted to hold her still. Turning slightly, she glanced back at the forest darkened further, realizing she could almost hear the shadows groan. Just then, a shriek echoed, sharp as a knife. It pierced through the air like a siren call, undeniable and piercing. Jenna's heart lurched in her chest. Was that Lily? "Where are you?" she cried, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The shadows around her seemed to quiver in delight, braiding between the trees, weaving closer. She faced the light, squinting against its strange brightness, but it offered no guidance. Instead, within its reach, shapes began to form, figures swirled into existence like smoke, moving behind the light. The ghostly figures became clearer. Jenna's breath quickened as panic surged within her. They were children, their faces resembling twisted mirrors of innocence, yet marred by malice. They danced and swirled, long hair flowing like ink in water, eyes hollow and dark, reflecting secrets too terrible to fathom. It was a grotesque performance, devoid of joy, their laughter echoing like shards of broken glass. "Mommy, play with us," one called, the voice deceptive in its sweetness. "No." Jenna felt fury rise, mingling with fear. "Let her go." But the shadows wrapped tighter around her, looming large, their cool breath brushing against her skin. She could feel them probing, searching for weakness, her doubts, her fatigue. The laughter crescendoed into chaos, wrapping around her, insinuating that escape was impossible and that surrender might be sweeter than the game they played. But she wouldn't give up. The light pulsed, calling her again, more insistent. She clenched her fists, her thoughts shifting toward an instinctual fight. If the light meant safety, then she would race toward it. "Let her go," Jenna shouted. "You can have me instead." The figures paused, momentarily intrigued. The laughter stilled, and she felt the weight of their hunger shift. "That's not how it works." The apparition closest to her snarled, an expression of twisted playfulness crossing its childhood face. "No one leaves here." Desperation clawed its way up Jenna's throat. She could feel time pressing in, each second grew heavier, as if the darkness itself was waiting, poised to strike. Within that fragile moment, she caught another flicker of movement. Lily. There. Beyond the light, darting back and forth, desperately reaching for her. Jenna's breath caught. Her instincts surged. "Hold on, baby. I'm coming." With a fierce war cry, Jenna charged toward the light, shadows screaming and clawing at her, but she didn't relent. As she broke through the last barrier, the light enveloped her, warm and blinding. But around her, the dark figures howled in fury, their laughter morphing into a terrifying symphony of despair. They surged, blotting out the light, stretching toward her with hands long, cold, and desperate. And then, she stumbled forward into nothingness. She gasped, the darkness thick and oppressive. Jenna spun around, searching, fingers outstretched, anticipation spiraling into dread. "Lily!" she called, panic surging as silence swallowed her whole. But in that silence, a whisper stirred, barely audible. "You shouldn't have come here." What did it mean? Was she trapped? Jenna struggled to hold on to her fading courage. Could she find her daughter in this void? A cold breath brushed her cheek, and she felt it, the weight of unseen eyes, watching her, waiting. The hunt wasn't over, but who was the hunter? Who was the prey? She needed to know. Desperate, she called out again, the sheer will to survive melding with the desperate hope of motherhood. "Lily! Answer me!" But the unrelenting darkness had other plans. The shadows coiled around her like a tightening snake, ready to squeeze the life from her. What had she unleashed? The forest quaked as echoes from the deep began to chant, "Not everyone plays to win." What awaited her in this overwhelming void? Could she save Lily before it was too late? Jenna's heart raced in the suffocating quiet, each beat a reminder of her desperation. The silence stretched, stretching her nerves to the breaking point. Shadows writhed around her, an insidious fog draping her in uncertainty. "Lily!" Her voice broke, raw with fear. The silence shifted again, a subtle motion, as if something stirred just beyond her reach. Panic nestled deeper. What had she walked into? Was this a trap? "Help me, Mommy!" The voice came like a brittle twig snapping underfoot. It echoed in the nothingness, just out of sight. Despair twisted in Jenna's stomach. Was it truly her daughter, calling for her, or just another cruel trick? She could feel the shadows pressing closer, cold fingers brushing at her skin, sending a shiver coursing down her spine. "Stay away!" she screamed as she pushed against the inky darkness. They laughed, that twisted, childlike mockery, a chorus that sent icy tendrils of dread creeping through her. "Mommy, find me!" The urge to run was palpable, but she felt anchored to the spot, trapped by an unseen weight. "This isn't real!" She shouted into the void, her own voice an echo in the emptiness. "Leave me alone!" A sudden shift in the air made her skin crawl. She felt it, a presence, looming. Jenna's instincts kicked in. "If you want me, come closer," she challenged, eyes narrowing as the shadows pulsed, swirling in response. Suddenly, a flicker of light burst forth, illuminating a small space around her. It was faint, a mere pinprick against the consuming darkness, but it revealed the jagged outlines of twisted trees and crumbling earth. And there, in the dim glow, she saw them again. The children, hollow-eyed specters standing just beyond her reach. "Mommy! Play with us!" Their voices blended together, a haunting melody that clawed at her sanity. She fought the urge to recoil, focusing instead on the trembling flicker of light. "Lily!" she shouted once more, resolve hardening inside her. Before she could brace herself, the darkness flickered, revealing a fleeting glimpse of a knot of tangled hair, a bright dress clinging to a small frame darting within the shadows. Her heart surged. It had to be Lily. "Stop! Stay where you are! No! You have to find me!" The taunting giggle slid into the air, and Jenna pressed against the wall of shadows surrounding her. "Go away! Let her go!" A raw strength surged, and she took a step towards the flickering light, pushing through the kids that danced and swirled, their laughter piercing like nails on a chalkboard. The space around her began to twist and morph. The shadows shrieked, trying to pull her back, their hands reaching out, grasping for her. But as she stumbled forward, the light brightened, forcing the shadows to shrink back. But with each step toward safety, the children's faces morphed and twisted, their expressions transforming into grotesque masks of anger. "Not everyone gets what they wish for," one cried, lunging forward, nails sharp as daggers. Jenna ducked just in time, regaining her footing. "Lily!" she screamed, desperation filling her lungs. She had to keep going, had to reach her. The shadows were sentient, they pulsed with resentment and hunger, but she pushed ahead. Each step was a fight against overwhelming doubts, the chaotic whispers making it hard to concentrate. What if she couldn't escape? "Mommy!" The cry grew faint, lost in the cacophony of laughter surrounding her, teasing, tantalizing. "You have to play forever." Abruptly, the trembling light flickered out, plunging her back into a suffocating void. The laughter crescendoed, drowning her thoughts as Jenna felt the overwhelming darkness close in. "Why won't you play?" a voice whispered, sweet and sickly, echoing in her mind. "No. No more games," she yelled. But it only fueled them, stern eyes glinting in the dark, filled with mischief and malice. Just then, something shifted again in the darkness, another voice, muffled yet distinct. "Mommy, I'm scared." Jenna's heart dropped. Was that Lily? Suddenly, the shadows surged, twisting and turning, their laughter morphing into a terrifying symphony of voices. They encircled her, pulling her down, dragging her into their darkness. Not everyone leaves. As she felt herself slipping away, a horrid thought struck her. What if she was never meant to find her daughter? The realization spread like ice in her veins, filling her with dread. But one thing was clear, the real game had just begun and no one was safe. What sinister secrets did the void hold? Would she ever reclaim her daughter, or was this the end of their story? Jenna's breath was ragged, her lungs burning as she clawed away at the darkness, panic flooding every inch of her. "Lily!" The name echoed through the oppressive silence, a desperate sound swallowed by the swirling shadows. They twitched and rolled toward her, hungry whispers weaving through the air, wrapping around her limbs, weighing her down like anchors, pulling her further into despair. "Not everyone leaves." The words breathed life into the thick gloom, chilling Jenna to the bone. Tears pricked at her vision as she fought against the rising tide of sorrow and hopelessness creeping in, shrouding her mind. She couldn't lose Lily, wouldn't lose her. Suddenly, she felt a flicker of warmth amidst the coldness, hope held tighter than ever. The ghosts of twisted laughter pressed at her back, but a cry broke through the chaos, her daughter's sweet, innocent voice piercing the fog. "Mommy! Where are you? Just hold on to my voice," Jenna called, pushing back against the shadows with sheer will. Just then, she strained her ears and strained her heart, focusing solely on that beacon. With every ounce of her being, she strained against the darkness. The light flickered again, illuminating the chaos with an ethereal glow. Shapes began to emerge, chubby fingers with too many joints, faces of children twisted in grotesque camaraderie. Their bodies were amalgamations of light and shadow, swirling around the precious flicker, taunting. "Join us. You'll never find her," they chanted, voices layered like a chorus, angry and echoing. But Jenna pressed forward, urgency igniting within her. "No. You don't control me," she shouted defiantly, forcing herself through the phantoms of laughter. Then, piercing through the torment, she heard another urgent whisper. "Mommy. I'm scared. Lily. I'm coming." Jenna pressed on, absorbing the echoes, the mocking laughter fading beneath her determination. She charged forward, her eyes narrowing against the figure dancing in the shadows, her little girl, a flicker of a bright dress caught against mounds of dark. "Where are you?" Jenna felt her heart surge, a flicker of hope against the cacophony. Suddenly, the shadows recoiled, as if sensing the seed of rebellion. "You can't save her. You can't save yourself," they screamed, a tsunami of sound crashing over her. But just ahead, light burst forth, beaming brightly like the sun breaking through a storm. And there, caught in that luminescence, stood Lily, wide-eyed and trembling, hair tousled like spun gold in the dawn. "Mommy." The little girl reached for her mother, hands outstretched, and Jenna's heart dived into the well of love, anchoring her once again. "No. Don't touch her." The shadows hissed, warping and lunging toward her. Jenna barely registered the threat, advancing toward her daughter with unyielding determination. "Hold on, baby. I'm almost there." With every rushed step, the pull of the darkness grew sharper, more insistent. The phantoms lunged, clawing at the air, but she wouldn't falter. They might try to snatch her back, but she refused to surrender. And as Jenna reached for Lily, a glimmer of resolve ignited inside her. "You can't have her," she roared, defiance spilling from her lips like molten lava. She flared her arms wide, ready to envelop Lily in her warmth. The shadows quaked at her boldness, their laughter cracking like glass. "Not everyone makes it out," they howled, trying to drown her, sickly sweet voices swirling into a frenzy. But Jenna didn't hesitate. She gathered every ounce of love, every fierce protective instinct, and launched herself into that light, a beacon guiding her home. "Mommy!" Lily cried, pure joy flooding her voice even as the darkness roared in fury. The light wrapped around them, consuming the shadows whole, sending them shrieking into the void. "Together!" Jenna shouted, grabbing Lily's hand as they leaped simultaneously toward the light, her heartbeat echoing like a drum, knowing this was their moment. And with that leap, the darkness shattered, spilling forth endless rays of warmth. The cacophony of shadows broke apart. Like clouds after a storm, dissipating into nothing as rays of brilliant light enveloped them. Breathless, Jenna landed in a field of soft grass. Crystalline stars twinkled above, and the moon bathed everything in a silvery glow. The air felt fresh and clean, as if wiping away all remnants of fear. "Mommy?" Lily's small voice threaded through the expanse, and Jenna pulled her close, cradling her against her chest. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm right here." Relief crashed over her like a tidal wave, the fears of the night slipping away into the ether, replaced with the warmth of solace. They were free. "Do you still hear them?" Lily asked, her voice faint, filled with uncertainty. "No," Jenna replied softly. "They can't hurt us anymore." As they sat together, the hum of freedom sang in the air. Two souls intertwined in the vastness, the memories of shadows fading, buried beneath the safety of their embrace. The moon cast a soft blessing upon them. Jenna pressed a gentle kiss on Lily's forehead. "Let us go home." Hand in hand, they walked toward the horizon bathed in twilight, leaving the night and all its horrors behind. But as they faded into the distance, the echo of laughter hung in the air, chilling, distant, a reminder of the darkness that once consumed them. For in the night's unending depths, one bitter truth resided: every game played leaves a mark and something never truly vanishes. As the screen fades, ask yourself, could you survive? What if the darkness called your name? Don't let their story end here. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm, ensuring we keep the eeriness alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. Let us know what you think of tonight's chilling conclusion. And you need to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Don't wait even one more second. True fans understand just how vital it is to support the channel through these actions.